Good evening and welcome to another session with Ariel Ministries. What Ariel Ministries stands for is Rediscovering and Changing Love with Mihai Kocha. I'm your host this evening. Of course, my name is Mihai Kocha, and I'm the author of Rediscovering and Changing Love, Part 1, and Rediscovering and Changing Love, Part 2. For all those who do not know me, these are Bible studies, and you can buy them wherever books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Westbow Press, my publisher, and my website, www.rediscoveringandchanginglove.com. Rediscoveringandchanginglove.com. And this evening I want to talk about an interesting topic. It is about the world that God has created in Genesis. That's Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, of course. And this is because I followed a presentation on Answers in Genesis. That's with Ken Ham, with Creation Museum and Ark Encounter. And there was a debate between him and an atheist, a young atheist evolutionist called Alex O'Connor. And Alex O'Connor presented a very interesting case against Ken Ham, because Answers in Genesis keeps saying that the world that God had created for Adam and Eve before the fall was perfect. And this young gentleman presented an idea which I held for a long time, but I never had a chance to talk about it, to express it. But he presented one point which I actually did not see, but it was actually very good. And I want to congratulate him on that. Not that he is an evolutionist, but for the point that he saw that many didn't. Not even me. I didn't even see that point. And this is what I'm going to talk about. So this is about the world created by God was very good, but not perfect. So that's the topic of today, and we're going to try to prove that. So the verse that Alex O'Connor presented was in Genesis 3:16. And this is what it says. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow in sorrow thou shalt bring your forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. All right. So his idea was that if the world was so perfect, and there was no pain and suffering, why is God multiplying her sorrows and her conception? So if there was any amount of pain, and God says he will multiply it, that means it was existent. Okay, even though that pain might have been just a little discomfort. And this is what I'm going to talk about this evening. It's a very important topic. And Answers in Genesis keeps on saying that the world that God had created before the fall was perfect. And this verse actually stands against it. He didn't have much to say, Mr. Ham. He just he came with other verses, other ideas, but he tried to answer this one, but it wasn't sufficient. Not for Alex O'Connor, and not even for me. All right. I've been holding on to this belief for a long time. I believed for a very long time that the world was imperfect, and this is a good time to talk about it. So if there was a pain, if God is multiplying the pain, her sorrow, that means there was, even if there was a little bit. Okay, not much. It's true that there was no death, no suffering, There was no, how should I say, well, I should say no suffering, but very little, according to this verse, especially to the woman. Um, so what I'm trying to explain here, especially with the woman, if the woman, if Eve would have been pregnant before the fall, if she would have given birth to children, there's no way that conception, okay, and especially the burden of carrying another child in her womb would have been like as if the child wasn't even there. I do not believe that. I do not believe that Eve would have said that. Any extra load on a person, especially on the woman, would have been a burden. Not a great burden, probably, but it is a burden, okay? Especially that it is for 9 months. Maybe it would have been shorter. The period would have been shorter before the fall, but we don't know exactly. Okay, we will never know. So, but still, any kind of childbearing would have been a discomfort, especially if it were twins, triplets, and so on. There's, I've seen pictures of women. I forget which year. Maybe it was last year. She gave birth to 10 babies. I mean, her belly was immense. She couldn't even walk. All right. But this is, of course, after the fall. I don't know if before the fall women could have twins or triplets, or I don't know about that, but for sure they were blessed to be multiplied. So the ability to have children would have been there. Okay, would have been available. So Eve could have been pregnant before the fall if probably this unfortunate incident wouldn't have happened when they ate from the forbidden tree. But so that pain was there, the discomfort was there. Okay, had to be there. Childbearing is nothing easy. It might not have been hard for her, too hard, but it was still a little bit of discomfort. Had to be that way. That's number one. Number two, think about the fact that since the world was created, day one, it was God said in verse 4, chapter 1, verse 4 says, and God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were first day. And from day one, the earth has had day and night. Okay? It's a cycle. In which Adam and Eve, all right, from day 6, they had to share. Which means that during the day, they could do their work, whatever they had to do, and at night, they had to go to sleep. If they have to go to sleep, that means you get tired. You're wasting energy, okay? And you have to recharge your batteries. That is evidence for an imperfect body, therefore an imperfect world, okay? The world was very good. I insist. The world that God created was very good, but it was imperfect. God also created all kinds of plants and trees for them to eat. Okay? So Adam and Eve had to eat, which means they got hungry. If they got hungry, that means the possibility of, how should I say, induced starvation was there. Food was, of course, abundant everywhere, okay? But somebody could have induced himself not to eat. Let's say fasting, okay? Which is painful, all right? You will say, well, there was no reason for fast then. It's true, but the possibility, what I'm saying is, if Adam and Eve would have chosen not to eat, just put this, if you can wrap your head around this, then they would have felt pain, discomfort. So it was there. So they had to eat. They had to eat to avoid that pain. Do you see what I'm saying? So they had to go to sleep, all right? Because if not, they would have gotten tired. And if they would have continued to stay awake, then their bodies would have gone into confusion, into fatigue, exhaustion, and that's, again, discomfort and pain. Proof and evidence for an imperfect world. They were made from the dust of the earth, okay? So they were now in flesh, bones, blood, and all kinds of organs. They had to work. So if Adam, this is another point I'm trying to discuss, he would have taken a knife and he would have made an incision on his skin. Not that he had to, but what I'm saying, the possibility was there. If he would have tried to do this experiment and just make an incision on his skin, he would have bled and it would have hurt. So the possibility of pain and bleeding was there. Not that he had to do it, but the possibility was there, which means, again, imperfect bodies, imperfect world. Angels do not need to eat. For example, Lucifer has been on this earth for a little more than 6,000 years. He didn't eat one meal. Perfect body, all right? He's got a perfect body. He doesn't need to sleep. If he sleeps, even for 1 minute, he loses a minute of his battle against us and against God. He has a perfect body, angelical body. He's not affected by fire. He's not affected by heat, by anything. He can suffer no pain whatsoever until the day of his judgment, of course, when God will destroy him. But until then, he's got a perfect body. And Jesus said that we will become like the angels. In the new world to come, we will have angelical bodies. That is perfect. Okay? That is a perfect body and a more perfect world. We'll get into that soon. The earth was created with a lot of animals. A lot of animals. Abundant with animals. Big and small. In the land, in the water, and in the air. And these animals, like humans also, they have to not just sleep, but they have to eat. Which means if they eat, they have to excrete, all right, their bodily excretions. That means the earth had, unfortunately, poop, okay? Not all over the earth, but you know what I mean, like today. Which means that Adam and Eve could have easily stepped in some of these feces of animals, pools of urine, or, small mounds of poop. I mean, think about the dinosaurs, right? These animals are humongous. The one with the long, I'm not sure what the name of it is. Can you imagine when he pooped? All right, it must have been like a bomb. Okay, and when he urinated, it must have been like a waterfall. All right, it may sound funny to you all, but that's the reality. I mean, the animal is huge. Okay, so, and I'm sure the feces of animals and humans didn't look or smell like roses and lilies either. Okay, maybe they didn't have the kind of stench that they have today, but still, I don't think it was roses and lilies. It wasn't pain, it wasn't suffering, but it was still some sort of discomfort if you had to step or be near such a sight. Okay? So again, proof of imperfect world. However, the angels, they're not affected by this. Okay? Maybe they can smell it, but they cannot necessarily step in one of these and get dirty or disgusted. They're unaffected. They have perfect bodies. I know that Answers in Genesis, they always quote this verse from Deuteronomy 32:4. 32:4. And let's discuss it. Deuteronomy 32:4. And this is what it says. He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment. A God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. Of course, his ways are perfect. Everything he does is perfect. The world that he did was perfect for the time being. Okay? For the purpose that he made it for. It was very good. Excellent. What do I mean by that? When God created Adam and Eve, well, when he started creating the world, all right, before he created Adam and Eve, day one, when the world was being created, another world was also being prepared for Adam and Eve also. And let me prove this point. This is in Matthew 25:34. Matthew 25:34. Matthew 25:34. Going too fast here. And this is what it says. This is when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, verse 31, and all the holy angels with him, then he shall sit upon the throne of his glory. That's 25:31. And then Matthew 25:34 says, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. That's the perfect kingdom. So, while the kingdom that God was creating for Adam and Eve was being created, at the same time, another world, the perfect world, which we call today the new heaven and new earth to come, when Jesus is coming, that is the perfect world. What's it going to be like? I have no idea. One point though, Jesus says we're going to be like the angels, unaffected by anything. We won't have blood. We won't have to sleep. We won't have to eat. We might choose to eat once in a while, because there's examples of angels actually that ate when they ate with Abraham, okay, and with Lot too. But for sure they ate with Abraham. So they can choose to eat, but they don't have to eat. Okay, the possibility of starvation doesn't exist. The possibility of fatigue and exhaustion does not exist. The possibility of bleeding does not exist. The possibility of bodily secretions do not exist. So that is the more perfect world that was prepared for them. So what that means is that the world that was created for Adam and Eve was a neutral world, which is better than this world, of course. It was a neutral world in which his world was in the middle, and he had to choose: do you want a better one or a worse one? You eat from the tree of life, Of course, he didn't say that, but that's what was expected of him. If he ate from the tree of life, he would have received same day that perfect world, which was already prepared for him. Just like when he ate from the forbidden fruit, and the same day he received that worse world, which was not prepared for him, but it was given at his choice. That means that his world was in the middle, as a neutral. It was very good, but it was still imperfect. Another verse I can show you guys. It is in Ephesians 1:4. Ephesians 1:4. All right, and this is what it says. Ephesians 1, verse 4. According as he has chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. Before the foundation of the world, before the world was even beginning to be created, this was prepared for us. You see what I'm saying? Has chosen us. He chose us before day one of creation. And that is amazing. That's another proof for the perfect world. Another verse is Hebrews 6:5. Hebrews 6:5. And this says, and have tasted the good word of God and the powers of the world to come. Okay? And which is the perfect world. The world to come. That is in the future, when Jesus is coming. Another verse similar to the one in Matthew 25:34, it is found in Revelation 17:8. Revelation 17, verse 8. And it says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So there was a book of life that was set aside already from the foundation of the world, in which the names of all those who enter into the covenant of God was already written there. Do you see what I'm saying? And the same idea is in Revelation 13, verse 8. So what I read was Revelation 17:8, and I'm going to read from Revelation 13:8. And it says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So Jesus, it says that he was slain from the foundation of the world, but he wasn't slain before the world was created. He promised that in case Adam eats from the forbidden fruit, he will die for him and give him another chance to the perfect world that is to come, that was prepared for him, and he didn't choose. And that's what it means. Jesus promised that he would be slain in the place of Adam in case he chooses to eat from the forbidden fruit. So that was this contract between Jesus and the Trinity was done before the foundation of the world, before day one of creation. So that's what I'm talking about. When the people from the Creation Museum and Ark Encounter, when they say that the world that God was perfect, it wasn't perfect. It was perfect for the time being. It was good, very good, but it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the perfect world. It was actually imperfect. Another idea, another point that I want to discuss is, if you guys, I don't know if you've seen, if you've watched my video entitled, it's on Ezekiel 28. It's the history of Lucifer. Okay, I think that's what it's entitled. It's the history of Lucifer. It's about the fall of Lucifer and why he became Satan. And there I spoke that through study, and please watch it if you haven't already, that Lucifer, okay, was Adam's teacher, his rabbi. He was set aside to teach and to advise Adam to eat from the tree of life. But instead he turned against him. One of the reasons why God set Lucifer to be Adam's rabbi, to make him think, why can't I be like Lucifer? Because when God brought all the animals to Adam to name, he realized every animal has a pair. Then he was able to discern, well, how come I don't have one? And as soon as this thought developed into his mind, before it became a burden, God put him to sleep and created him a mate. So for the same reason, God gave him Lucifer. Okay? One of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the many reasons, is to look and to compare. How come Lucifer is better than I? How come Lucifer has a better body than I? How can I acquire such a body, such a mind, such capabilities? He probably saw Lucifer fly, probably saw Lucifer transform or sing in many different ways, and probably Lucifer might not have been the first time he spoke through the snake or other animals. You know what I mean? And then, because that's why Eve was not surprised. She didn't run away when the snake started to speak. Do you realize that? If today you see, I have a dog and two cats, if one of them will start talking to me, I might have a heart attack. Okay, that's unheard of. That's impossible. They don't even have the capability to do that. What made them speak? So if Eve didn't run away, that means that she might have experienced such dialogues or conversations with the snake or other animals, and they knew that Lucifer was doing that to teach them a lesson. Probably was teaching them that see, animals don't speak, but if I take control of their body, I can make them speak. And who knows what else. And that's why Eve didn't have a heart attack when the snake started speaking. So this probably should have made Adam and Eve think, well, how come he can do it and I can't? Again, evidence for imperfect world. Okay? So that's the reason for this study, to help you guys understand that even though the world that was created was very good, it still wasn't perfect. And it could have been perfect. It could have become perfect as soon as Adam would have eaten from the tree of life. But because he ate from the forbidden fruit, from the forbidden tree, he received the worst kingdom, where everything is against him. Before, nothing, not much was against him. Was probably not much at all. Very little. And now, everything's against us. The weather's against us. Our fate is against us. Our friends are against us. Our families are against us. Animals are against us. Insects. The air is against us. The weather is against us. Nothing but pain and suffering and sorrow in this world. And that is to make us long for the next kingdom that is to come. Well, Adam failed. Probably we would have failed too if we were in his place. I'm pretty sure I'm talking about myself. I probably would have done the same thing. So how do we inherit this perfect world that is to come? Well, eat from the tree of life. I spoke in another session, the description of the New Jerusalem, and I spoke how the tree of life that was in the Garden of Eden now symbolically became Jesus, and we're supposed to eat his flesh and drink his blood daily. All right? Not just whenever we think of it, but daily. Daily to drink his blood and eat his flesh. He is the tree of life. And number one. Number two, keep the commandments. That's part of eating his flesh and drinking his blood. All 10 commandments. All of them. The world is not the same as it was a year ago. It's not the same as it was 2 years ago. It is changing rapidly. Remember January 1st? It was an earthquake. It proved that the seventh seal was finished. Just like I told you from study on Revelation 8:1. Chapter 8 verse 1, when the Lamb broke the seventh seal and there was silence in heaven for half an hour. For almost half an hour. So before 2023 we received a lot of signs that the end is near. Okay, so 2023 was a crucial year. And I want to say blessed for having discovered that before it happened. And I was very, very happy to see that, especially when I saw the earthquake. I wasn't happy for what happened. God forbid, no. But I was happy to see that God answered. Not just to me, but to many who are willing to listen, that the seventh seal is finished. Which means there's nothing else to be fulfilled. Which means that Jesus could come right now. Are you ready? Did you eat his flesh and did you drink his blood? Did you keep all the commandments, all the 10 commandments as they are written in the Bible? Because when he comes, he won't care what other things you might have kept, what other things you might have observed, who else you might have obeyed to. The only thing he's going to ask is, did you obey what I commanded? You might say, oh, I celebrated Christmas, your birthday, Christmas, and I celebrated the day you died, Easter. And he's going to look at you very surprised. And you're going to be surprised too that he looks at you that way. And he's going to say, well, I see that you were very, very zealous in keeping what I never commanded. Did you keep what I commanded? He who loves me will keep my commandments. That's what he said. Have you kept his commandments? Because if he didn't command it, you don't need it. So get ready for the perfect world that is coming. We're going to receive angelical bodies. There's so much to be explored, not in just in this universe, but who knows how many universes are there. I don't know where they're full of. This universe is full of stars and planets and constellations and so on, galaxies. Other universes, nobody has a clue. A friend of mine, I sent him a video of this, and he said, I want my own galaxy. I want my own universe. I'm sure there's probably an infinite number of them. Why not? you know. But that's just an example of the perfect world to come. If you love this world, if you like this world, you want to remain in this world, well, I'm telling you, you won't, because it'll burn soon. It'll be renewed. So get ready for the new earth and the new heaven, a new universe. But we're going to live here because Jesus says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." All right, so the earth is our home. We can go any way we want. We could have our summer galaxies or summer universes to go to. You might, I don't know. I'm just coming up with ideas, and I'm sure you can come up with some too. So God help you. And if Alex O'Connor is going to listen to this video, I want to thank him for that. I'm sorry that he has to be an atheist and an evolutionist, and I pray that he might see that God made that world imperfect for a special reason. So, anybody else, thank you for watching. Until next time, God bless you. And if you enjoyed these videos, share them with others. And we will see each other next time. God bless you, and Maranatha. Have a good night.